Welcome to the Top 200 podcast with your host, Herschel Fawn.
What's up, everybody? It's Herschel Fawn from the High School Top 200. Welcome to the Monday morning meeting. I'm Herschel Fawn. I'm the owner and the one that runs High School Top 200. I do this all by myself. I want to welcome you guys all back to another week. A lot of stuff to get into this week because, we've got some playoffs going on and we've got some real important games coming up in terms of coming into the finals and stuff. If this is your first time here, welcome back. Welcome for the first time. I run over the first 15 schedule and all the things that are important throughout first 15 rugby around New Zealand. I do this on my own. I'm the one that answers emails, ones that do the rankings, all opinion based, all that kind of stuff. So if you want to find anything that's got to do with first 15 rugby, most likely it's going to be here on my platform. And I've got a few platforms, so if you jump on Facebook, it's High School Top 200 on Facebook. It's also at the real HS Top 200 on Instagram. My TikTok's got HS Top 200. And go on and subscribe onto my website on hstop200.com. It's a $5 subscription for the month. And so you'll be able to look through all of the rankings and stuff there and articles that I've written up, that I've finally got back into the groove of writing with my website being down, my laptop getting a new laptop and stuff. So thank you to those that have donated a laptop and helped me out with that. Also, it's been an interesting couple of weeks in sort of looking over the competition. I went out to, so with the first games, because I wanted to go out to see another North Harbour game, but I was really interested in what they were doing in the 1B in Auckland. And the reason why is because Tangaroa College, who hasn't lost a game this year, who got relegated from the 1A, had a terrible relegation game. Really looked like they were just a throwaway kind of team. They got smoked by Botany Downs. But now that they're in the 1B, they have not lost a game. They've come close so many times to losing, but they've always managed to find a way to win. Even in this game against Tamaki College that I went to on Saturday, it was the same thing there, is where I started looking, obviously I looked through their scores and the ways that they sort of won and the teams that they were looking at when they won, but I started to look at it differently in terms of what this team is building up to be in terms of character, by, winning these games by 7 points, 5 points, 3 points. Some of them just are like 10, but they're all really mixed up in terms of like the teams that they were playing and how much they were winning over these teams that you'd expect them to kind of smash, but they weren't. But they were just managing to win these games. And so when I went out to watch them against Tamaki, because Tamaki also is like a really, really solid team, only had a few losses on the year. Tamaki's actually had a really solid, maybe 4 years in a row of just these consistent, strong teams that can back up front, and then they can also really take a team to sort of its level. These are kind of like the teams that I feel like should be in the 1A. They should be in a position where they can at least play the lower teams of the 1A so that they can start getting better as well, sort of in the grade. So when I went to watch this team, when I watched this game, I had this open mind of like, okay, they're both really good teams. Tangaroa should win this game. But I know that Tamaki really has some players, and that Tamaki are a team that, you probably shouldn't take too lightly. It was kind of how I was thinking about it. And so I think when I went and watched them, and I paid attention to how I think it was like the way that they played together, especially Tamaki College, they didn't have a great scrum, which I think Tangaroa should have taken more advantage of. Was noticing that the Tangaroa scrum was really, really sort of demolishing this team, and I think Jeremiah Malufo and Nano was the other one. Jafaya, I think his name was. I think those two were the two props, and they were just destroying. And here's something to this Tangaroa team, and especially this front row, because I know both of them are year 12s, and this front row, and I'm talking about actually your whole forward pack in this off season. Get fit and get in shape, because those two props, Tala, Jolly, even Tavita, who's the other prop on the bench, I think that they can match up well with the 1A props. And I feel like if Jafara and Jeremiah, if they had made this commitment to get in the gym, get their fitness times up, I have a feeling that they're going to make under 18 Blues next year. Getting fit and getting in the gym. They had some solid scrums. Technique needs a little bit of work, and that's fine because that's something that can be taught. But their overall toughness, their moving around the field was great, which I think was kind of like a positive in terms of when it came to the field stuff. Those two were kind of everywhere. That's what I liked about it. So I feel like these two, if they really made sort of like this goal, and everybody, and I kind of have this feeling too, man. Like I feel like there should be a page for the South Auckland hookers and props who are all year 12, or the South Side hookers and props that are all year 12 and year 11s that are playing first 15 next year. I think you guys should all just come together. I honestly think this. Everyone just come together in the off season and support each other and all get fit, all get into shape, and not just to make under 18 Blues, but also to be seen so that you guys can get opportunities elsewhere. Remember, there's not a lot of places in the country that have props and hookers that are built like you guys that can do that kind of stuff. So I think as a Southside unit, and I'm talking about guys from Otahu, I'm talking about guys from De La Salle, I'm talking about guys from Old Ede, Southern Cross, all you guys, and Tangaroa College, and that all you guys just get together. Someone put up a page, someone put them together and go, this is what we're going to do. We'll all meet here at this time in the morning. We'll all go to this gym, and there's got to be plenty of gyms out there that will help you guys out too. But there's too many talented guys in the front row that are naturally talented, naturally strong, and you just got to get fit and get gym strong, which is the other side of it. Technique and stuff that can be built around. Coaches will look at you and be like, oh yeah, technique is kind of off, but we can fix that in 6 months. We can fix that in club rugby. We can fix that. And like, I'm telling you, if you guys do this kind of stuff, your opportunities to be seen, opportunities to go to different places in the country and then work towards getting development to go into NPC sides and stuff, it's going to be massive. You don't have to just stay in Auckland. You don't have to just be in those areas. Like, go to somewhere. Like, that's why like some of these guys move out of Auckland and go to schools around different sides of the country, because they just got better programs, better fitness programs. That's not got nothing to do with your schools. That's just the way that it is. That's just the help that you kind of get. So You go where you can get the help. I feel like these guys, as well as like, as well as a lot of you guys in South Auckland, especially in the front row, you just need that support of each other, and it will be seen. It will be seen, and it'll be make so much more of a difference when you guys come back into the season, and then you guys will get seen a lot more. I've got like different thoughts about the 1B as well, which I think are missing out on an opportunity. But I understand kind of why they do it, but I feel like they're missing out on an opportunity, which I'll talk about later on. Anyways, this game, backs were running well. A lot of movement in the backs, a lot of movement, sort of ball wise and stuff like that. But then Tangaroa College always came away with something. You know, they always came away with some kind of way to win, even though that they were down. They let it try, and it was bad. Like, it was like a misread of things, and I just thought they got a bit mixed up. And Tamaki went through, but even Tamaki in a way too. And they were kind of lucky as well. They were lucky that they could have lost by more. Tamaki was just holding on, and then the yellow cards didn't help out. It never helps out. But I knew what they were kind of doing, and it was just, those are just sort of the moments that Tamaki needed to learn just to get out of these situations and to sort of keep a level head. Someone in that forward pack has to control, has to keep the boys together. When you're in your own 22, it's hard just to sort of not have a go at that ball, not have, try and, tackling high, or, I don't really like the way these tackling rules are, but, you just have to be disciplined in that way to sort of go, okay, I want to smash this dude, but let's find a better way of doing this. All those kind of things. Tamaki easily could have won this game. Tangaroa just found a way. With all these games that Tangaroa's had so close, they've been finding a way out of all these games, and I feel like it's something that this team is going to build on for next year too. They have a bunch of players coming back. This Tangaroa team is real talented, even though they're real young. So next year, I kind of feel like they're going to have a good platform in which they can get back into the 1A. They just need to work on it as a team, I think. But yeah, it was such a good game to watch, and there's an opportunity there for them to get back in. I know that they've got some real positions to lock in. I mean, the first 5, second 5 will be ones like that. Lockyer kid was just so explosive. He just was so, you just couldn't really stop him. He was just so open and so destructive the way that he was, taking that ball to the line. And I mean, I can understand them not being able to sort of find a way to shut him down, but also just having one guy like that, and Lockyer was like looking around for those opportunities to sort of extend that play and get an offload, find that support. They just weren't there sometimes, They had the centre on the outside who I thought was really good. They sort of stayed with him, but they just needed more of that kind of stuff. But yeah, there was. I thought it was interesting going to the game, and South, the 1B need to take control of their own direction. And what I mean by that is, like, if you look at that under 18 Blues team, what was there, only two guys from the 1B, I think it was, they got selected. Whereas for me, I feel like there should have been more. I mean, you know, Pakiranga had some good players. I've seen a few of Mount Roskill's game. They have a few good players in that team. Waitakere definitely has some good players. Otahu's definitely got some good players. Edmund Hillary have got some good players. You know, obviously these two teams here, McLean's, Howick, and I feel like there is a lack of focus on the 1B schools. And what I mean by that is that I feel like the 1B schools are leaving it in the hands of Auckland Rugby to come and see them. Where my thing is that, like, well, you guys know as coaches that you guys have got the talent. You guys know as coaches that you guys got talent that can play 1A. And if these guys ever could get those players to come over to 1AC, they would be starting for those 1A schools. Now, if you're like me and you believe the same thing that I'm just saying right now, that you have players, and I've been saying for so many times, for so many years now, there are about at least 3-4 players that are 1A material players that can 1A start on these teams in the 1A. Now, if you've got these kind of starters and you've got these players that have that potential to be there, all they need is time at that higher level. Now, obviously, they can't get there like that from being from the 1B, but also, what you can do is spark the interest from outside of your region, the Blues region. Look, there's no stopping a kid from being looked at, seen by the Hurricanes, Highlanders, you know, the Crusaders, Chiefs, my region. There's nothing stopping them from looking at a player from any of these schools like Otahu, Southern Cross, any of these players and going, hey, what's that guy's plans? Can we bring him down to our under 18s? We like the look of this kid. We like the look of this kid now and for the future. Now, the easy way around this is that you 1B teams have to get together and say, all right, we're going to live stream all our games and we'll put it all on our own platform on YouTube. All live stream. Everyone give everybody else access to your live streaming, internet from your school and live stream the games. By live streaming the games, just like what, Whakaara Māori do, Māori TV does for the Super 8. Even if you went to them and say, hey, we've got an idea that you can come and do that in our competition too. Let the 1A do whatever they want to do. If the 1A don't want to show people what their skills are, the players the skills of the players in their comp, it's like, leave it to them. You don't have to be associated to those fellas. You guys are already at a disadvantage being in the 1B, and people don't think you guys have good players here when they're wrong. Now, my thing is just like, well, all you principals get together, all you principals go, I think this is something that's worth it. You all upload to the same page. And you have guys like myself who will share it out. You have guys like myself that will watch it and then talk about different players. You got agents, scouts around the country that will be interested in your big boys because in their region they don't have those kind of big boys. The 1A fellas are not the only guys that are out there. We know this. So, if I was you guys, or if I was a coach, or if I was, even if let's say there was 6 teams, that all agree to this and go, yeah, we like it, and the other teams, the other schools are like, nah, we don't really like that. So cool, that's fine. But when those 6 teams play each other, you guys put all your content on there. You guys put all your content on that page. You share it around. You do all the social media. Find a kid, give them a spot on the team as their social media content. Make these little highlights of these boys so that they can get opportunities. I believe that if you start this, there's going to be a lot more attention on your guys' players. And I'm not even just talking about New Zealand teams. I'm talking about clubs, universities from overseas, having a look at what we have in New Zealand. And this is what other people don't understand, that people don't think about watching New Zealand stuff. People overseas eat up anything New Zealand rugby in high school. They love that stuff. We just have to put on a platform for them to go and see it. All these guys from overseas are looking at our players and they go, we got to find guys like that. Now, if your son can get a scholarship to a French team or French university or Japanese university or to, clubs out in England and try to come up through their under 20s, man, take it. But we have to set that place here. Set it here where you guys can just do this stuff for free. As a school, to give your kids an opportunity, just do it for free. Like, obviously you can't do it right now, but we still have a whole 8 months till next year where by the time school starts or the rugby season starts, you guys can have that stuff sorted out. Relegation or whatever, whoever goes up, whoever stays down, just have that agreement. Remember, it doesn't have to be anything. VO cameras, those green ones that people see and they will put up on, get those, upload those on. Upload those on. So you don't have to have like an actual cameraman. Just upload that stuff on. Find a kid at school that is great at editing, who has a big social presence, knows how to do that stuff, and go, hey, if you come and do this, then we'll make you a part of the team. We'll make sure that it gets some kind of accreditation, because there's got to be some accreditation stuff like that in terms of like media and that. Got to be something like that. It's so important for these days. But that's where I think the game can change for those in the 1B in terms of the players and the schools where they can be seen. I know that these boys think they're not seen and no one cares about them. People just don't know who they are. People just don't see them. The only place you'll see them 1B stuff is if I go to the game. And then I post my stuff up on my Instagram and on my Facebook and do my podcast like this and I talk about it. But I feel like if you guys had your own platform, people will come and see it. 100% they'll see it. 100% you'll get any highlights that you guys do. 100% people are going to see that stuff. And you'll start bringing in those guys. Speaking of some of these 1As, so I went to St. Kitts. I was originally going to go to Kelson. I wanted to watch Kelson and Mags, but I thought, St. Kitts is just down the road, but I'll go there and see what happens, And I was picking St. Kitts to win. I wasn't picking them by much, probably like the same sort of score, but maybe just the other way around. on the day, I felt that St. Kitts was the more controlled team and the better drilled teams. They were the better drilled team on the day. Their scrum was just massive. Like, Auckland Grammar had nothing on their scrum. But when St. Kitts had this momentum, they just couldn't finish anything off, really. And then it took like Boston or Nico, Charles Rios was kicking well. All these things, they were just like individual brilliance and individual breaks. And then they just played off that small momentum and they would score off that. The intercept was great too. But it was just these little things that, St. Kitts would like sort of march it down the field. I think the kicking game both ways was pretty balanced and fair, and Angus was kicking it back too. Like he had a great kicking game. Him and Rios were actually pretty good in the kicking game, to be honest. But it was once it broke down for St. Kitts and turnovers came, things like that. It was that unplanned, unstructured stuff that Auckland Grammar were just so good at, and then everyone was just so supportive once it broke down. Finn Mather wasn't even playing. He wasn't even playing. He's their best player to me. But Nico stood out. Boston stood out. Rio stood out. The open side. I keep forgetting his name. He stood out too. Logan also had a massive game at lock too. Actually, him and Junior had like a pretty good, one-on-one in terms of locks. And I think because Riley and VJ in that front row were just ripping up so much, and the locks were behind it, Auckland Grammar had to find another way. And it came off that line out, and then sort of those first few phases off that line out where Auckland Grammar would sort of make some kind of momentum. Even though for a turnover, they just played great defense, and then they would turn the ball back over, and then they just played off that, and they just did so good. And in a way, because you could kind of see St. Kitts were, like even the Kelson game that I went to 2 weeks ago, I felt like St. Kitts should have lost that game too. They found a way out of it. They almost found their way out of this one too. I kind of have this feeling that this loss is going to be better for them. And for the semi-finals picture, because them and Auckland Grammar were through already, and then you got Kings, St. Peter's, Sacred Heart, and they got Kelston, St. Peter's, Sacred Heart, who are all on 34 points, and then Kings, who are on 33 points. Now Kings has to play Mags. Now I don't think Mags can beat them, but that's probably the hardest matchup from this week. So they'll, I don't know if Kings have got a shot on that one. I think they can win, but I don't think they can win by that much points, because Kelston play Liston. I think Kelston will win that. St. Peter's will play Dilworth. St. Peter's, I think, will win that. Sacred Heart plays St. Paul's. And I think Sacred Heart's going to win that. So even if Kings win, I don't think they'll be able to move up, because I don't think Kelston, St. Peter's, and Sacred Heart are going to win. Are going to lose to those other teams, and they're all sitting on 34 points ahead of, King's College. But Kelston will get one spot for sure. St. Peter's and Sacred Heart are both on 34, but the for and against and the difference between St. Peter's and Sacred Heart is 14 points. Now that may be like sweet, that's fine. St. Peter's can still make it. If you follow St. Peter's, and if you are a St. Peter's fan, you guys know, and St. Peter's people know, that they don't really blow out teams that they should blow out. They don't really smash a lot of teams. Like, there's not a lot of games where they come up with 50 points a lot of times, even when they're way better than another team. They're just not that kind of team. They'll win the game, but they'll win games by like 25, 30 points, but they never win by like, they never like hit 50 points or something like that. And even if the other team has still scored a few points, that's going to be the problem with Dilworth, is that Dilworth is not a bad side. That's the problem. They could beat Dilworth, but Dilworth can also put up some points. I mean, Dilworth beat Auckland Grammar too. So it's not like they can't beat St. Peter's. St. Peter's needed to win on Saturday against Sacred Heart to give themselves that extra gap. Now they don't have it. All they have is a 14-point gap over Sacred Heart for that 3 and 4 spot in the semis for Auckland. Sacred Heart have St. Paul's. I think Sacred Heart can hit 50 in this game and hold St. Paul's to a low score, where they can sort of outrun, they can beat that for and against St. Peter's. Now this is probably like the first time St. Peter's have to actually win a big game, win by a lot, and they're playing probably the better team out of all of them. Liston, Dilworth, St. Paul's and Mags. I actually think that Dilworth is the harder team than St. Paul's in this scenario. Now I understand that St. Paul's guys are going to watch this, watching this right now. Like, bro, you don't even know what you're talking about. Fine. But you're only ahead by 14 points. St. Paul's hasn't done as great as a lot of people thought they were going to be this year because of how much talent that St. Paul's has. So it's not unrealistic to see a Sacred Heart side get into their bag and put on a bunch of points because they know that they need to. That's the big difference here, is that they know that they need to. And at the beginning of the year, I wasn't even thinking Sacred Heart was going to be a finals contention. I actually thought that they were going to finish in like 6th, 7th place because they have such a young side, Sacred Heart. They've had to sort of start anew from what they have. I'm sure they've got Cohen and Cruz, but then everyone else are just kind of just they've got them at that sort of ripe stage in their development where they're going to go, okay, let's just build on these guys. They're actually like building and producing some product out of them when you didn't think that was going to be the case. And Sacred Heart are actually ahead of schedule of what even they, I think, thought that their team was going to be. And all of that, I think right now, Sacred Heart do not have the pressure, but I think that they know that they have the upper hand on this. St. Peter's is one right now who have probably got the pressure on them looking at what this for and against is. And some of you guys, I think some of these players as well probably didn't look at the for against and go, oh, well, hold on, we're only 14 points ahead and they play St. Paul's. It's like, I know St. Paul's has got, St. Paul's this year has struggled like points-wise as well as defense-wise, which, to me is something that I think is in favor, It's in favor of Sacred Heart to be like that. Dilworth may be like at the bottom of the table, but and I mean, I guess there's controversy as well because, their win taken away by Auckland Grammar is, it's like, come on, man. But that's how sort of strong this competition has been. It's been so strong that Dilworth, who was sitting second to last, could beat a second team in the 1A. That's how strong this competition has been. Liston, who hasn't been like a traditionally strong team, have finally put themselves in a position where they are a much stronger team than they even thought they were. And I've kind of been following the under 15, 16s, under 15s, second 15, and seeing sort of like the players that are coming out of there. And I think they're in a good position to carry this on. St. Paul's are still in a new position, but, you know, I think it's going to be, it's going to be a hard push for St. Peter's in this. And if St. Peter's miss out, I think that's going to be a pretty hard one to swallow, because they've got such a good team. They've got such a good team, St. Peter's does. And they found themselves in this position. I mean, they probably shouldn't have lost yesterday. Against the Mags, they probably shouldn't have lost. You know, and a few others where I think they could have probably, you know, come out and won. Maybe some of those dying seconds ones where they could have come out. But it's going to be a hard one for them. I might probably go to... Oh, no, actually, I won't go to that game. Because I'll be at Hamilton Boys in Tauranga. Yeah, I think so. So, yeah. It's a hard one. And I've got to give it up to this 1A has been pretty strong. So that's going to be a hard one. St. Kitts are going to be safe, but St. Kitts still need to go through that. They lift themselves up. They're going to play De La Salle this week, and De La Salle is not really an easy team for St. Kitts. And if I was De La Salle, I would come out pretty violent in everything that I did, and I would make it so hard for them to recycle any ball, to get any kind of phases going. I'd get in the face in every line out, you know, things like that. I would make sure that first engage is heavy. Like, even if you don't win the scrum of that, but I'll make sure the engagement's heavy. Contact is going to be heavy as well, you know, and I'd really make them work for it, and really make them feel that physical side of it. Oh, yeah.
I cheered. I thought the game was done. I thought you called the final whistle. I can't see anything. They got danger outside. Look at this. They've got danger. Yes! Let's hold up. No, you can hold it. You can hold it. Yes. Hold it up. Come on.
Tauranga Hamilton Boys. It's gonna be another down to the wire. Last game was 2018. Not 2018 as in the year, but 20 points to 18. Tauranga probably should have lost that one. It just came down to some kicking at the end. Well, it came down to two kicks, one after the try and then, you know, the penalty. But those are just things that you learn from. You know, just things that you learn from. It's just another game. Now you got another day to sort of get a bit of redemption on that. But this one's going to be different because they play sort of the same kind of style. They play sort of the same. Real good on defense, movement, a lot of offense, quick rucks, plenty of ball movement, and backlines are dynamic in real different ways. Real different ways of dynamic. I actually don't know who's going to win. I actually picked Tauranga will probably win with a full side. Tauranga will win. But I'm not confident about my choosing. But I'm just putting a bit of a line in the sand and going, this is what I think. But I'm not confident in that, because this could go anyway. Hamilton boys are just not one of those teams you want to choose against, but Tauranga for the most part of this season have played a perfect season. Worst game obviously was probably that Kelston game. After watching that game, it felt like Tauranga took it too lightly and took it more like they started slow, weren't really into it, and they just couldn't make it up. And they just couldn't bring themselves back, and it was just, just one of those kind of things. But that one's going to be an interesting. I'll come out to that game because I don't want to miss the finals. I was actually wanting to stay here to watch the CNI semis with St. Paul's and St. John's, but I forgot, because I wanted to watch it on Saturday, but I forgot. I thought, they're going to play a game, but I forgot that Super 8's different and they don't have that semi-final stuff, which is weird. I wish they had semi-finals, but I can understand that. So I'll be out there watching them. St. Paul's, I think it's safe to say that Fielding's going to be into the finals. Lindisfarne is a good side. They just don't play that full 70 minutes the way that they like to do it. And they play a fast-paced game. And it's great. And it has worked throughout this year for the players that they have, because they're going to be such a strong team next year. But I don't think all of them can play that style. I think a bunch of them can, but I don't think all of them can. They're learning in it, and I hope that if this carries on to next year and they play that same kind of system, I hope they get a lot more success out of this. Them making it to the top 4 is great. I didn't think that at the beginning of the season, but after I started watching them a few games, I was thinking, this team can actually do something. And making it to the top 4 is great. I think Fielding's going to win again. The last score was 41, 2 or 3, something like that, to like 17. And then I feel like it'll probably be the same thing again. St. John's and St. Paul's, however, even though the score on Saturday was 21-5, I don't think that's going to be the score next Saturday. I don't know if I'm going to pick St. John's, but I know that this game is going to be way closer. And there's going to be a big difference in the energy that comes with it. St. Paul's have, they were dominant for so long. It's been a bit of a break, but I think they're kind of back. And so it's going to be interesting to see what kind of energy they bring this way, because St. Paul's and Fielding, when I went to the game this last time, it just wasn't close. But I still think that St. Paul's is a different team from then, and I think that they're going to bring something different if they get to the finals. But they still have to pass St. John's, and St. John's is not going to be easy either. If I had to pick right now, I'm just going to go with what my rankings say, and my rankings say that St. Paul's is better. I'm not totally comfortable with sticking with that because St. John's is so good, but just to give someone something to argue about and to call me shame, I'm going to pick St. Paul's in this over St. John's. And not a confident one either. I mean, to me, the more confident one is probably going down when you go down to sort of the Mars Toyota Premiership, and you see Nelson College. Nelson College play Marlborough boys. Now, Nelson College, number 1 team in the country, still consistently banging out all these wins easy, and The last time that they played Marlborough Boys, who was their main rival, they won 50-0. And I'm not going to say the score's going to be the same, but I'm going to say that it's going to be similar. I think high 40s or low 40s, and they'll probably hold Marlborough to maybe under 12 points, something like that. But they'll score low 40s, around the 45, low 40s to 45 area. I think Nelson's going to be like that. And then probably the harder game is the Christchurch Boys and Christ College, who's the other semi-finals. But even though Christchurch Boys won the first game, I'm actually leaning towards Christ College and winning this one. Again, not confident, but I'm leaning that way. Even though I've ranked Christchurch Boys higher, I just have a feeling that this Christ College is... I don't want to say trending the right way, but judging from what I've seen, I think they have like a good shot at beating Christchurch Boys. Christchurch Boys is probably the favourite. In my mind, I think that Christ College have something a bit different, and I feel like they can pull this one off, and it'll be back to like the quad finals with Nelson and Christ College in the finals. That's what I'm thinking right now. I think Silverstream is the one that, like, especially if we go to Wellington, Silverstream, they're going to play they're going to play Town, St. Pat's Town. Last score, like, you know, was a week ago, 2 weeks ago, it was 50-5 to Stream. It's not going to be like that in this next one, but I still think Stream has got this one. Stream are just too strong all over the field. They've got too many players that can change the game, and it's St. Pat's is just too young. They're still just too young, and Max can't control it everywhere. Dante can't control it everywhere. There's only so much that you can rely on young guys to do before the older guys take charge and take responsibility of their team. They just don't have enough older guys to take their responsibility, and so it's going to be a hard one for them to overcome. And Stream has just got too much, I think. Stream has just got too much, and the Wellington Scots. Wellington's got to be careful that this is not going to be an upset, because I can actually see Scots College beating Wellington College, and Wellington College have the better team, they have the better player, they have been playing better, but there's something about some of these scores and games that they've been playing that are not convincing. And they need to sort of find themselves again and find and center themselves again to the team that they were at the beginning of the season, because they're starting to fall off at the end. They've got to do something. And so, to me, it's like Wellington College is not a comfortable pick for me to pick Wellington College right now, because Scots is just that good and Wellington's not playing as great. But I will continue to go with Wellington in this game. It's going to be a hard one. You know, it's going to be a hard one. And even if that comes into that finals, Silverstream's still the team to beat. Silverstream's the team to beat, Nelson's the team to beat, and St. Kitts is still the team to beat in all these competitions. Tauranga's going to be tough. Fielding's going to be the team to beat. And everyone's sort of just making their way to the top and just clawing their way to the top to see what happens. Obviously, all of this stuff does come down to national top 4 picture and whatever. You know, even though I still don't agree with how this top 4 is, because there's just too many teams that aren't able to be considered for the top 4 due to what region they're in. But this is how we're going to get the top 4 and what it's going to look like. I don't think there's going to be any. I can't really say, because all these games are too close. Hamilton boys, Tauranga too close. Wellington Scots too close. Stream in that is, to me, is one side of that stream. In the 1A, Kelston, St. Peter's, Sacred Heart, and Kings are not even really playing against the teams that they're playing against. They're actually playing against each other on that side in wins and losses and for and against. That's their kind of game. Winning the game is not just the game that you're trying to win. You're trying to win the points game on the leaderboard. That's what you're trying to win. Francis Douglas has to me got this wrapped up. Don't get too cocky. Make sure you play the game and finish it off. St. Paul's and St. John's, I picked St. Paul's, but I'm not confident in my St. Paul's pick. I'm just doing it because that's what my rankings say and that's what I decide. Nelson's going to be easy one. Christ College I'm going for. Not confident, but that's just who I'm going for. And Christchurch boys and Christ College are going to bang that out, see what happens, and then, see how that picture is going to look. Because even down in the south, you've got, that Otago competition with Otago, Southland, John McGlashan and King's High School. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know who's playing who. I imagine that. I imagine that St. Paul's, Southland. Southland. It might be Southland and Otago, to be honest. Because Otago have lost to both John McGlashan and to King's High School. And Southland's won all. So Southland definitely is the top. But yeah, we got to see about that. We got to see about that one, But it's not looking good. Anyways, yeah. I'd like to keep these ones short. I'm glad this one is short. I'm glad this one I didn't take up everybody's time and sort of boring you with my voice. I know that's not, I just say what I need to say and get this over and done with, because even I feel uncomfortable. Even after doing this for so many years, I still feel uncomfortable doing this and talking to myself. But I'm just glad that people listen. I'm glad that people still want it. I'm glad that people ask questions and ask opinions, and just so that we can all grow together and learning about First 15 Rugby and getting more people to follow First 15 Rugby, because it's pretty exciting rugby with no attachments, but I want to play with my mates and I want to win for my school. No one right now is an All Black. No one right now is a Chief Crusader player or anything like that. No one's going on their max contract or anything like that, or trying to, there's none of these things in First 15 Rugby. There's none of this kind of stuff, and all you want to do is play for that crest on your chest and win with your boys, so that your bus ride home is mean and it's full of song, singing, lies about what you did in the game, and just happy moments. And that's what everyone's just kind of going for. Remember, it's down to these are going to be some of your guys' last games. Some of you year 13 not even going to care about rugby next year, to be honest. Some of you might just be your last games of rugby, because you're just going to get back, I'm done with rugby. Just concentrate on career, concentrate on family, all that kind of stuff. But these are the times where you can really give it your all and really give it, a lot of meaning to what you're playing for now. A lot of you guys are just going to play next year just for fun and be not that serious. All you guys have played your hardest, trained your hardest rugby at your high schools, even more than what you would in the future. So you kind of cherish these moments too. Kind of cherish these moments with the mates that you're playing with, who you might not see after this year, because everyone's going to go away to different universities, go away to different apprenticeships. Australia's always calling. Places like that, universities overseas, opportunities overseas. So just make this real memorable for those guys that have their last games, that might have their last games this coming Saturday. And make it special. But keep that stuff in your heart, eh? Like, you may not think about it right now about how special it is, but in a few years you might look back and go, yeah, that's probably the best time I had in my rugby career, was playing with my first teammates. Anyways, love you guys all. Here's Fruin. Later, ball.